Take care on the long road. Wheresoever you should go, the line of Lucis goes with you. Walk tall, my son.
Final Fantasy XV is a game that continues to provide new and fresh content to consume, although almost exhaustively so considering it came out at the end of 2016. One of Square Enix's most creative ideas was to condense the game into a new format that could be played on the go, and so Final Fantasy XV Pocket Edition was born. With an art style that is likely to be decisive for some, the game actually manages to deliver a wonderfully condensed version of the game that becomes the most efficient way to experience its story. Being a game releasing on a mobile platform, this will immediately be a turn-off for certain gamers. However, know that this is a mobile title asking a premium price without any extra costs. The story is broken up into 10 linear chapters that are a few hours long each. They don't quite follow the chapter structure of the original game, but most certainly follow similar sized chunks of story. This is because Final Fantasy XV Pocket Edition is in all intent and purposes an exact representation of the main events in the console version. Practically everything is grabbed and moulded to fit the Pocket Edition, and it does a damn fine job of presenting its bite-sized counterpart. From the dialogue and story to the music and locations, everything is exactly as it was. Well, not quite everything. Immediately obvious is the fact that because it is a mobile system, that the visuals have gone through a huge change, and now feature a chippy-esque approach that greatly simplifies the environments and characters.
You can only go so far on the kindness of strangers.
Come on, car isn't gonna move itself.
Sheesh. I thought the car was supposed to move us.
Wouldn't that be nice? Can it? Ready, steady.
With the exception of a lack of expressions, it doesn't really hurt the game in the long run. In fact, it just further helps at making this experience feel more worthwhile for players return to the story. It is important to note though, that being a representation of the original with such a friendly art style, the first timers will most likely lose the impact of emotional moments or grand scenes. For the most part, this game conveys the main story arc very efficiently, taking out the open world aspect and a lot of the side content like hunts or secret dungeons. This streamlining not only helps in removing any downtime between story beats, but also creates a more palatable experience suited for on the go. Being linear with no way to revisit previous areas unless written into the story keeps you focused on the next goal while making every environment feel special. Adopting a fixed isometric view, each area has a restricted layout that has you shopping for equipment or exploring to collect items, fighting monsters, or going to the next quest objective.
You can get almost anything here.
There isn't much in the way of side content other than finding items, but there are little scavenger hunts that have you looking for locations illustrated on the map to unlock some new gear.
I've come up with a new recipe.
The locations themselves are actually surprisingly close to the console version for such a condensed form, with the same geographical layout for most towns and dungeons. Of course, the gameplay is where it takes the biggest hit other than graphically for a mobile iteration, but even that is realised well. To run around, you can either press a certain point on the screen or tap and hold to control Noctis in a more joystick type approach. Both work very well and greatly assist in navigating the environments presented in each chapter. Sometimes warp icons are also introduced that grant the ability to quickly travel between various points or to stealthily take out enemies, both of which successfully mimic the traversal options Noctis could perform in the original. Actually taking part in combat has you essentially tapping on a target to either warp to them or trigger auto attacks. Thankfully, this system does become more complex by introducing parrying and dodge mechanics, as well as party abilities as you progress through the chapters. It isn't sophisticated enough for a controller, or have the level of strategic targeting the console release presented, but on a phone these touch controls are intuitive and a great representation of the combat feature in Final Fantasy XV. For a mobile adaptation of such a graphically intense game, I was incredibly impressed by what Final Fantasy XV Pocket Edition had to offer.
The power of kings goes with you, Your Majesty.
It's a much simpler version, but its new perspective and inviting visual presents something enjoyable for players who want to experience the story again, or for those uninitiated and are turned off from the console or upcoming PC release. The gameplay strikes a great balance of never feeling difficult to manage, while also not being overly simplistic to instill boredom, that made it continually fun to defeat each group of monsters and level up Noctis in the game. With Chapter 1 being free, there is no reason not to try out the game if you're interested, before investing in the full experience. If you can get over the simplistic character models and it being on a mobile phone, you will find a streamlined and fun retelling of Noctis' quest to reclaim his throne. Thanks so much for watching, and if you enjoyed this look at, then please check out our other videos for more gaming and geeky content.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, attaboy. OMG. Gee, most adorable bird ever.